Maybe if we're not in front of the microphones.
We figured it out.
Well, no, we need to be in front of the microphones.
Oh, yeah.
The microphones need to be behind the speakers.
No, microphones need to be in front of us, and the speakers need to be in front of the microphones, and I need to be in front of this somewhere.
Can this be a TED Talk on stage design?
Today, on building a furry stage at a convention, you want a...
There's a different one now. No one can talk there. You gotta go higher than that.
Can we just write a song right now called Feedback Loop?
That was...
It's a what do they call it? The monks,
Oh, Gregorian chant.
Gregorian chant. It's a Gregorian.
We don't have to pronounce it right.
No.
We speak English. We don't know any of this crap.
That's fine. Let's start in English. Drink your beer.
Sorry.
By the way, do you like it?
I'm going to say that because that's PG-13. In this fandom, it's the Gregorian chant. Oh, only half of you on. The rest of you are on FA right now.
Oh, hey, you know that feeling when you go on FA and go, oh, what's that little S mean? Oh yeah, submissions. How many of those do I have? 26,300. Like, I haven't been on this site in a while. Never mind. It's just a me thing, I guess.
No, it's scarier for the people who have zero. That means every day they wake up, it's like, okay, email, pay bills, porn. That is the order of operation.
Dude, when I first got into this thing, like, and I was in college and had a lot of free time, I would check FA on my phone like I do Twitter now. Like, every second.
Oh, yeah.
I would just go, oh, that number was constantly at 0. I'd be like, oh, 3 new arts. And I would, like, study them, leave a comment, like a thing, talk to my guy, respond to notes, and then, like, cross the street. It was weird. And now I'm like, we have to talk about socialism on my phone, and that same thing. Then you cross the street.
You're not allowed to tweet anymore.
At least you put your phone away.
Remember your bed? Tweeting forever.
That's fine.
At least you're one of the people who put your phone away before you cross the street.
It depends on how long I've been in the city. After about 4 days, I stopped looking before I crossed the street.
Okay, 100% true story. And you'll know this because you probably work with somebody like this, especially Des. You know those people who have like a pager and a cell phone and a tablet and a satellite? Like they need to be connected at all times. Middle of Chicago. Here goes one of those gentlemen. Business suit. Crossing the street. No reason to cross the street at this point, and here comes the car. And he just goes, bam! And pulls out a second cell phone. I love and hate Chicago so much.
That's like an enemy in an NES game. Where you're driving and it's like, look out, the businessman throws a phone and that costs 2 hearts.
What phone is big enough to cost 2 hearts? That's like the Xbox controller of
Note 7.
Any phone from the 80s.
New controller.
Hold on.
The Zach Morris phone.
The Zach Morris phone. Did you guys actually get an Xbox original reference? I'm so proud of them. They're so old.
Hey, this thing crashed the Swiss market. My kid is 25.
That was a fun
And is he an honor student at such and such elementary?
I need to drink now.
Oh man, see, I'm at that phase because I have 2 little sisters. I call them little, and they're going to college this year.
Nope.
And I'm having that like fatherly moment.
You guys should meet my brother who looks exactly like me. He's just like bigger and hairier.
Yes.
Can you imagine a bigger, hairier version of me though? It's weird. That's like saying a taller, louder version of Alkaline.
No, that's Andre the Giant. The man is amazing. If you ever get a chance, there's a documentary out there about Andre the Giant. That man was amazing. Yeah. Him holding a beer is like the rest of us holding a G.I. Joe that we're about to board. Like, it is wild. The best part of it for me was when they, because something similar, nothing to this level, obviously, he had to go in for surgery. So they asked him, like, well, we need to figure out your anesthesia, so how much does it take to get you drunk? He's like, a vodka. Like, Oh, a vodka gets you drunk? Like, yes, one bottle of vodka gets me drunk. Like, all right, we will get the horse anesthetic. Yeah, it was legitimately a crapshoot. Like, they interviewed the anesthesiologist, and they're just like, I'm either helping him or killing him, and I don't get paid enough to know which. Yeah, terrifying.
Did you by chance also watch the Iron Sheik documentary? Is Xander getting you into wrestling properly?
Xander is very much getting me into wrestling. He just skips through all the fights because I have a thing about watching people get hurt. And the second I found out you just throw tacks on the stage.
We watch wrestling exactly the opposite way. I only watch the fights.
So if we put the two of you together, we actually have one proper WWE.
One actual. He can tell you the plot. I'll tell you who has like a broken leg for real at the time.
What? He's
doing this frame. His shoulder comes out of his body, and you're like, oh no.
Wasn't it the 1, 2, 3 kid who got the ring up his ass?
What?
Yeah, no, this is real. There's a gentleman called the 1, 2, 3 kid. He was a flippy guy, like super skinny, flipped all over the stage. They pulled off the turnbuckle. He did a flippy stuff. Whoop, turnbuckle up the butt. Like, blood everywhere. And he's just like, well, now I know I'm not gay. I just...
One guy, one guy?
One bite.
You're welcome.
PG-13, huh?
That was PG-13. I didn't say anything.
You know, okay, so on the subject of documentaries, have you seen the Mr. Rogers documentary yet?
I cried.
I can't cry that much.
It was so amazing.
I have the same thing. I don't know if I want to upset myself that much about it.
I learned so much about Mr. Like, I thought, I'm like, oh, he's just, no, so much stuff he did was amazing. Like, going in front of Congress and giving a speech, and basically, there was this politician that was like, you are not getting money. And Mr. Rogers spoke for like 8 minutes, and he's like, you're getting $20 million. Like, all he had to just go up there and go, I like to perform for children. And it's like, money!
Now, if you do get a chance to see it, that gentleman was one of the most amazing people in the history of our country. Yeah, no, that's unbelievable. Highly recommended.
I found out for the first, I didn't even realize he did this. After 9/11, he recorded PSAs for public television for the kids, like how to address it to them. And I was like, at that age, I wasn't watching very much on public TV, but just the fact that, you know, he came out of retirement after not doing a show for years and was like, hey, we got to talk about this. Like, there's really not anyone who addressed, you know.
Basically, he took the place of the parents who were like, I don't understand how to explain the birds and the bees to my children, so now they're all furries. And he's just like, that's cool, but so is them understanding how condoms work. Let's do this, guys.
How do I explain to my children that 2 men could raise a baby boy in this great nation?
I mean, to be fair, you just have to do that. 2 guys can raise a child. It's not that hard, parents.
The kid goes to school the next day. He's like, what did you learn last night? 2 Men and a Baby is a documentary.
That's why it's that jokes.
Oh, damn it.
Oh my God.
I will say that the one that got me the most was, if anyone's seen it on Netflix, Wild Wild Country. Oh, man.
Look, most of that movie, you're like, yo, this cult is all right, actually.
Yeah.
Like, this cult is great, and we should not. Okay, it's a cult in that it was basically a bunch. If you took a bunch of people who think in the way that we do socially now, we're like, being gay is fine, whatever. Like, even like open relationships, that's probably not really that big of a deal. Like, we've kind of broken down our morals, and not broken down our morals, but like adjusted what like normal is. But they all lived together as like weird hippies that only wore, what was it, like magenta?
Yeah.
They wore like a red, they all wore red at all times. They had like afros. This in the 70s, and they somehow, enough of them found each other, and they were all like scientists and hedge fund managers and doctors, and then they all just like decided to like buy a town in Oregon, wasn't it?
They didn't buy a town. They bought like 100-mile square radius ranch. They're like, what are you gonna do with it? They're like, ranch? They're like, okay, what does ranching involve? Like, you never described that. We're building a city. And they did.
And they built one of those like utopian societies that usually ends with like, oh, when are they all gonna kill themselves? That has to be how this ends, right? Yeah, literally, they're going to, they're drinking the Kool-Aid and they're going to die, right? This is Joeville too. No, they're awesome, like, all the way. You're like, these guys are the best people. They're having meditation classes. They're a little hippy-dippy weird, but they're completely fine. And then, like, the government just, like, destroying.
I've been working with this recently. In fact, Boozy's children started a cult on my behalf, apparently. Sorry about that, guys.
I think this is the movie that makes people libertarians.
It is. But all we realized, the only difference between them and furries is that when the time came, when the going got tough, furries would say, let's band together. Let's do something about this. And they went, let's murder people.
Let's poison the town so they'll all leave and we'll win this vote.
I want to say that we would have chose differently. In the choose your own adventure of the furry fandom, the page of murder the town is stuck together. We don't need that page.
They just wanted to get them so sick that they wouldn't vote.
Right.
They weren't trying to kill
They didn't want to kill anyone. They're just like, well, how do we get them to not go to the voting booths? They're like,
well, can't vote with diarrhea. That was the whole scheme. They like poisoned a salad bar at a Haas's. Shout out to Haas's. I do not like Haas's either, sir. I agree, but shout out to Ponderosa. What's your favorite weird, like, chain buffet situation? Do you want like a Golden Corral?
That's all we got here.
Yeah, right. It became OCB. OCB.
Are you down with OCB?
Cece's Pizza.
I am very partial to being accidentally locked in a Mariano's for half an hour. I'll be honest with you, that was the best buffet I've ever had. Because seriously, let me be honest with you guys, because sometimes you really need to think, every once in a while, if you're in a situation and you don't really know what to do, take 1 minute. Take 1 minute and say, I will not act until this minute is over and I've thought it all out. I got locked in a Mariano's. And I sat there for a moment and I thought, all right, they have to let me out. At the very least, they're going to let me out tomorrow. I have running water, I have a bathroom, and I have food. And they locked me in. I can eat whatever I want and I will win this lawsuit. All right, their turkey is delicious. Just take a minute so you can rob a store.
So it was only half an hour?
Yeah, they came back. Oh. Yeah, I was setting off alarms everywhere.
Oh, I thought you just like weren't finishing.
I went behind the deli counter and started trying to figure out the slicer. Like, yeah, this will be fine. What are they going to do to me? I'm locked in their store. I needed sustenance, and I weigh 301 pounds.
So you became the episode of South Park where they're locked in the Papa John's. They can't eat the dough because gluten is killing everyone. It's okay, I know celiac disease is a real thing. I'm not a gluten truther. There are gluten truthers who think it's a conspiracy to make us like not eat bread or something.
It's true though.
They really are.
Yeah, no, gluten will kill you. Did you not see the documentary on South Park?
Don't you know that soy turns you into a woman?
Yeah.
That's a real conspiracy, people.
No, dude, South Park is put out by all of the people who know the truth, and they're just telling us through the lens of comedy. You've got to believe me, guys.
You sound like a soy boy.
Oh, boy.
Soy boy. That's a real thing that people will tell you on the internet. Because remember, soy has a plant estrogen in it. Unlike, you know, milk, which has a lot of, like, mammal estrogen.
Yeah, it comes from female cows.
So if you eat cheese, you're definitely going to turn into a lady.
Well, it's hard to come from
That's
male
how it
cows.
works.
Call me
Because
Sally, I like
science.
To be fair, that's like half of my submissions on FA.
Hold on. Are you telling me that cheese turns you into a woman and gluten might kill you? Pizzas are amazing.
Pizzas will turn you into a dead woman.
And then the hearse will come to 5 different houses.
Hopefully they get to the crematorium in 30 minutes or less.
Alkali, your TED Talk was very eye-opening on the corpse burning industry.
I'm telling you right now, dude, this is how we do it. Cars are cheap right now. You just drive the car into a fire and be like, bye, Grandma.
But are corpses cheap right now?
Corpses are very cheap right now.
You're a business person?
I love that you forgot my job for a moment.
Well, I didn't want to just say, like, okay. Like, you understand how money works.
I'm hoping that furries. Okay, no one in this room knows how money works.
Like, on a macro level.
Yes.
I understand it on the transactional level.
Swiss market.
No, alright, let me explain something to you right now. You most definitely do not understand how money works on a transaction level. You ever hear those stories how the Canadian dollar is fluctuating every day? Like if you cross the Canadian border, one day $20 is worth $21.15. The next day it's $4. That's not their money, that's our money. Our money fluctuates too, idiots. And I cannot believe I need to explain that to people. Stop buying boats. And this was a conversation I had this week with a Fortune 500 company, and I want to kill myself.
Did you make money on it?
No, they bought a boat! What aren't you getting?
There are people in Arizona who make entire weird gated communities where they have a series of canals and like, what are they called? What does that town in Italy have?
Venice?
Yeah, what's those?
Gondola.
Canals?
Yes, it's a canal.
Canals. So they build like artificial canal systems between everyone's boring cookie-cutter houses, so you can live in Phoenix and still have a pontoon boat.
You can go punting in Phoenix.
If you are old, white, and rich enough. Absolutely.
There is a building in Chicago.
And that's why the mosquitoes still exist down there. There's no natural occurring water. They would all die, and we'd have no mosquitoes in the whole valley if they would get rid of these weird pontoons transit systems.
I'm sorry, pontoon transit systems?
Wait,
Your town house of terror.
is there a pontoon public transit down there? Like, we can take the bus or the pontoon.
The PPT? Oh, tickets are oh so expensive.
I'm sure the HOA there has various pontoon regulations of like, you can't park your pontoon on the street. Where are we supposed to park it? It's a pontoon boat.
So the regular one uses an oar and the express uses a motor?
I just want to see Chicago take over a little bit of Arizona and use our parking theories on the pontoon. Just like putting chairs in the water, like, no, that's my spot now.
Yeah, it's like,
That's how we save spots in Chicago. We just put our furniture in the street and hope no one moves it.
only if it's snowing. That shit does not count in the springtime.
No, there are people that think it count in the springtime. Guess what I think? I think your chair is under my car. That lazy boy is dead.
In the snow, you have paid the penalty for that spot in the labor of shoveling it out so the chair makes sense. In the spring, summer, autumn, no.
No. And I understand why you think that. Because you see the news articles of these elderly people in Chicago with 40,000 feet of snow, and they have a toothpick, and they're just like, oh, sooner or later I will have a spot. That is not how it works. They go searching for that, people. Allow me to describe to you how it works in Chicago. All right, here's my car. It's covered in snow. All right. Now there's some snow off the door. All right, the door is open. This is good. Then, start car, go inside and have breakfast. Then you get in the car, which is still covered in snow, but because you've warmed up the car, there is a small layer between the car and the legitimately 5 feet of snow on top of it. And you just start driving, just killing everyone behind you as you drive your abominable snowman downtown because the McDonald's by you is only paying $11.25 and that one pays $11.50.
And that's why I moved to Florida.
Halfway through it, I figured out where it was going.
And you know it's true because you've seen it.
No, I've done it.
You live in Arizona. Do you even know what snow
It's when I
is?
lived in West Virginia.
Oh, okay.
They have, it's the same thing except it's a dust storm. Well, I had a dust storm the other day, right?
Oh, we had a dust, like, apocalypse. It was real bad. There are all these, well, that's the thing, it's not even that unnatural because it's a desert and we're not supposed to live there because nothing is supposed to build a civilization in a place that doesn't have water. But we did it anyway because we wanted to make 4 mediocre professional sports organizations. Going for a 5th, Major League Soccer, look out. That's real, they're really trying to get an MLS team.
Oh, yeah.
Orlando has one, don't they?
Orlando City.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you guys are locals.
He said Uni got a count.
But what was I talking about?
Dust storm.
Dust storm. So the dust storm was coming in, and everybody like got their drones that day. So everyone's like, dust storm, oh shit. So they fly up to get these, like the aerial photos are amazing because it's like a neighborhood, Saudi Arabia, like, just coming in, and it's like here it is. Like, look out! You're gonna get fucking blown to Agrabah, you know, get the Phoenix metro area. It's scary. In real life, when you're on the ground, you just look out and you're like, you open your window and what's the weather? Oh, it's looking mighty orange today. And you realize you can't see your own car, and you're like, well, if I go outside, I'll get valley fever, a real thing you get from breathing in a fungus in the haboob, which is what we call the dust storm. The haboob, which is a Middle Eastern term for dust storm. It really is. Next.
What do you do? What do you do, like, in Chicago,
If you're
we'll
driving?
put salt down. We'll put salt down before a snowstorm. If it's about to rain, like, we move because our basements are gonna flood. Like, that's just how it works. How do you guys prep for
You
a
got
dust
3
storm?
options. There's no prep, because it doesn't really hurt that much unless the wind blows a shingle off your roof. It's fine.
Just flags made of dryer sheets.
I'm sorry. I just posted a photo, like yesterday, of a palm tree that got really big on top and was really spindly on the trunk, I guess, and in the rainstorm got blown off the top of itself, like you decapitate. What's that Pokemon that's a dragon that isn't Charizard but is a tree? Executor. So it was like if an Executor got fucking decapitated and thrown into a chain link fence, and then the fence got knocked over like you were playing Half-Life 2 and you had to get in the fence and you're like, oh, let's kick this tree over. Like that's what it looked like. What happened? Boom! Wow! And then you like run up the tree and then into the thing and you're like, boom, next checkpoint. Let's do. That's what it looked like what happened. So anyway, for the haboob, all you really have to do if you're driving around, you have 3 options. You're the guy who pulls over and just like waits. You're the guy who sees it coming, pulls over ahead of time, goes into like just Wendy's and you just kind of hang out for a while until it goes away. Or 3, you attempt to keep driving and you die. And then you're on the news, and that happens every single dust storm. About 10 people go, I choose to die, and they just do it. Whenever we flood, people are like, let's go in the underpass. Under the sea. We have a special law where if you do that, you are fined by the police if they have to save you. They'll charge you like thousands of dollars to get you out.
Chicago has that for if you just ignore the orange cones. Because we're Chicago. Like, legitimately, we have more orange cones and free time than you could possibly imagine. So we're just like, hey, in a year, we're going to do construction over here. Let's set up the cones. And we'll just, like, no. Like, we're Chicagoans. We just ignore everything. But sometimes it's walking, you know, wet cement. The city of Chicago will tow your car out of the wet cement, send you a ticket for the following: ignoring the orange barrels, ignoring the signs, going into wet cement, the repair for the wet cement, towing your car. If you drive into wet cement in Chicago, it is a $2,500 grand total fine. And your car is probably ruined because this is Chicago, where we know everything is going to have fat asses like me driving on it, so all the cement is like this thick. Rooms covers.
Weirdly, the impression I got from Chicago, except for the driving, which is pretty insane, everyone was far nicer than they should be, even in downtown areas, suspiciously nice.
We're robbing you.
Like, hello, sir, how are you doing today? And I'm like, is this a major metro area? Like, if you go to Boston, you're like, no one's saying, oh, how are you doing? They're just like, what? Like, it's all you get. Next! Someone yells at you and you say, like, 6-inch white bread ham, and they're like, ah, and they fucking throw it together and throw it at you, and if you don't have your credit card ready, people behind you are like, hurry up! It's insane. Chicago is very polite. Very nice.
It is. You obviously didn't go into the sandwich shops.
Well, I know how to handle myself in a restaurant scenario. Like, I don't even enter until I know my order, like, memorized. I'm ready, you yell it, and you just throw your money in. Good.
There is a place, I wish I could remember the name. They are notorious for figuring out a way to get their soup 1 degree below boiling. Because if you want soup, you want to take it home, and you want it to still be warm. And they started off by saying, caution, sir, madam, this is hot. At some point, they just started saying, it'll kill you. And that's how they announced that soup is up, like, it'll kill you. And it will strip skin off you. It is over 100 degrees worth of soup. We had one of those thermal thermometers at work. We got the soup, brought it upstairs. It was I don't remember the temperature, but it was murder children hot. You can fit children to the size of soup they have. Look, it's just a thing we know. Don't go there.
That's like the lady who spilled the coffee on herself and sued McDonald's.
Yeah, that doesn't work as well unless you're like a billion-dollar company. The reason she got that settlement, this is true, that settlement is based off of a lot of the judge going, well, if we charge them $100,000 for this, like, they're going to laugh at us and get pocket change. So we're going to give you $56 million.
They asked for, the way they calculated it was 1 day of coffee sales. For the entirety of McDonald's in the whole world, yeah. And 1 day of coffee sales was like 59 million, whatever, $6 million. But the thing is, it's not like some lady was like doing donuts in her car, like balancing coffee on her head, and like dumped coffee, like, oh, that hurts a little. Just give me $1 billion. Like, it was like an old lady, they were parked, they're like, uh-oh, spilled a little, and it like, to the bone, ruined her thigh. Like, they had to like reconstruct her whole leg, and they're like, ah, Jesus. And like, they were parked, no one was moving, it was weird. And then they used that to like, for like, torch reform. So next time McDonald's burns your grandma, you can't sue anyone in this country anymore.
Excellent!
I didn't do it.
I still blame you. Thank you, AB.
This is like the Howard Stern show if they did 1 clip per 45 minutes. You just forget that they can do it, and then it shows up again and be like, oh yeah, that's a thing that can happen at the show.
All right, everyone, at this point we have about a half hour left, so before we go on, we want to bring up one thing. There's an amazing charity that is here this weekend. They have a bunch of wonderful animals in the dealer's den. Tomorrow they're going to have even more animals in the dealer's den, and maybe those animals won't cut the crap out of me.
He got sliced by the, what was it called?
We were trying to film a promo to put up online, and they're just like, well, this one's crazy. I guarantee you if you hold him, it'll be hysterical. We don't let anyone hold him. I'm like, sure, I'll try it. And we have a video of this thing mauling me with love.
I got it on camera.
There's a drop down on MFA for that.
Unfortunately, love has claws. So don't forget, guys, what we are doing this weekend is trying to help them out. If you don't know one of their goals, they are trying to make, and this is true, a venomous animal sanctuary so that when student groups come out, when people come out to their facility, instead of talking about the venomous animals, they can actually show them to them in a place that everyone remains safe, but the venomous animals are still comfortable because, don't forget, they are animals. Yeah, they can murder us all, but they're adorable at the same time. Yes, my friend. That's coming. So, we are going to continue going. I'm actually going to give you the hat. Just pass it that way. Thank you so much. Guys, don't forget, we are here to help those who can't help themselves. Any money you throw into the hat will eventually make its way to the charity after myself and Panda's roll in it.
You guys better belly! I'm gonna put pennies in it!
Please don't put pennies in my
Guys,
hat.
at least use silver change if you're gonna put change.
How about rolled pennies?
I only wear 2 badges, 2 buttons. This is the penny situation button, and this is the butter situation button. Let's not let them ever happen again.
What about the oatmeal? Oatmeal. Sorry. Oatmeal. Oh.
tomorrow night, it will be one of the closing stories at Tales from Con Chairs tomorrow night, 11:30 p.m. That story is my Groundhog Day. I will never not be able to tell that story. I don't know what happened that you guys love it so much. If you want to hear what we're talking about tomorrow night, 11:30. What?
DuckTales.
Woo-hoo.
Or if you're watching Howard the Duck, DuckTales.
Did you see that, by the way?
What?
Don Cheadle as the voice of Donald Duck in the new cartoon.
I thought Doctor Who was...
No, he's... Okay, so
David Tennant.
David Tennant is doing Scrooge McDuck because he's Scottish.
Oh yeah, good point.
But they did an episode where Donald had like a translator shoved down his throat by the gadgety guy. And all of a sudden, mid-sentence, he's like, quack, 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 and now I sound like Don Cheadle. And there's behind-the-scene footage of Don Cheadle doing the lines of Donald Duck, and you're just like, this is not how this should sound. I am confused yet intrigued.
I lost my mind when I found out David Tennant was going to be Scrooge McDuck.
So, I mean, cheer for David Tennant in general, I mean.
So this is what weirds me out about the Duck universe and the Disney universe.
Okay.
So when you first hear Donald Duck, he talks like you would. The whole idea behind like his weird voice is that it's like, okay, I understand. It's like a duck quack plus words like at the same time. This is what a duck speaking would sound like. And then you experience the rest of the duck world, and you realize Donald has a terrible speech impediment, and everyone else speaks perfect, clear English with Scottish accents, so there are many generations of different English accents that break off from Duck English. But Donald speaks like a psychopath, and everyone just acts like it's normal, which I guess that's what else are you gonna do?
I mean, you have Pluto and Goofy too, which just raises a whole lot more questions.
Call that slavery.
Yeah, so some dogs are better than others because they walk on two legs and talk, and some dogs are still on four legs, and you treat them like normal dogs, but the ones that walk on two legs aren't dogs because they're people, and I just get confused, and then I realize, yeah, that's how slavery started.
Like,
Furries, thank you.
does Pluto have like due process protections?
I'm sorry, hold on, pause. We're going to talk this section. Does Pluto... is he afforded due process?
Like, that's how you determine, like, a level of what people as a society consider a human, right?
Someone call Boozy.
So, if you're a dog, like Goofy, no doubt, if Goofy committed a crime, Goofy would go to regular, like, he'd be booked and, like, go to court. Like, no one would go, yeah, of course, because Goofy's like a person.
Important question for you. Does Pluto get due process? Question. Also, does that make him a human?
Pluto from Disney, not the planet.
Also, that is Pluto from Disney, not the planet.
Does Pluto the planet get due process?
I mean, not that it's a planet anymore. It's more of a dwarf thing that aliens live on. Comma, but you know what I mean, period. Shut up, pandas.
Well, to be fair, I am a human, and I am not a planet. Pluto is also not a planet, therefore Pluto is a human, right?
Yes.
It's math.
Okay, that's not how math works.
If A does not equal B and B does not equal C, then A equals C. I'm sure that's how it works.
Why are there letters in my math?
It's like philosophy 101, Dave.
Find X right there.
There it is.
I
My ex is in
circled it.
prison.
Say that joke again, it was good.
Find X in prison.
His ex is in prison.
Yeah, she was very, she did not take the breakup all that well.
She killed you.
Where was your excellent now, A.V.?
Is this how you got bit by the brown recluse?
Oh my god. Yeah, she sprinkled it in my closet.
I knew it.
She sprinkled you with brown.
She just sprinkled brown recluses because I got
How many
bit.
bites did you get?
I got bit by a brown recluse twice.
I thought it was 3.
No, I got bit by a brown recluse that sent me to the hospital once. And then it got bit me twice and it sent me to the hospital because they didn't actually extract it the second time and they're like, oh, you're cleared. And then the thing broke and I got infected again. So I was at the hospital for a grand total of a month and a half over 3 months because of that.
And this is not Pennsylvania, Florida, right?
No, this was up in Illinois.
Oh, but this is America, not the kind of place where you think there are many dangerous, poisonous animals.
This is Illinois, which is outside of the brown recluse's native, habitat, too. So they were like, what the heck is this? Why is your arm falling off? And then they had to, take a sample. They're like, oh, those aren't supposed to be here. Someone must have brought it up. And then I was like, there are so many layers to this cake. I don't want to eat anymore.
We need to find the terrorists. It's like an episode of 24, who's been transporting poison spiders across state lines.
Really quick, for those of you who don't know, is there anyone out here who does not know who this is?
Who the hell are you, Fur?
This is Fur. I can only describe him in one way, and this was one of my favorite things. A fan of his created a Twitter account called Is Fur Okay?
Is Fur injured?
Is Fur injured? I'm sorry.
You forget about it, then it comes back, and you're like, oh yeah! That's an element of the performance.
Is Fur injured is an account that updated once a day, and it would just say, no. No. But every once in a while, it would be, yes. And 5 minutes later, he would tweet well, fell off a roller coaster again.
I think the best was when I invited you to come up to the roof of the Motor City Hotel to take pictures of the fursuit parade from the roof. And he tweeted, about to go on a roof to take pictures down on the ground of a fursuit parade, and it just replied immediately afterward, give us a minute.
That account has been in existence for about 6 years now. I still don't know who the hell it is. It's terrifying because it's accurate. It's because it'll say yes, and I'll be like, oh, I guess I know what my agenda is today.
I think you have multiple personalities. One of them who just gets injured a lot is I'll show him.
Okay, fun fact. Did you know that I had a hearse when I was growing up? My first car I had to learn to drive was a hearse. Completely 100% true story. I learned how to drive in a hearse. A Cadillac Deluxe model hearse, which meant the backside was all padded, so the coffin was comfy for when you were in the back. No, so my father ran a very successful roofing company. He sold roofs, he sold shingles, he sold and he sold a lot of vinyl siding. Vinyl siding is 16 foot long, and my dad needed to get this vinyl siding from his warehouse to the client sites. So normally people would buy a truck. Normally people would buy maybe even a really big pickup truck or a box truck or some kind of semi-trailer. No, my dad was looking around. He wanted a deal. So he spent $3,000 on a hearse, which is on the inside, when you take out the back row seats, 16 foot long. So my father, I remember all growing up, would take a hearse filled with building supplies to a new house to deliver shingles and building supplies and roofing stuff. And I thought that was totally normal. When I saw a hearse going down the street, I'm like, oh, they're just going to a construction site. So imagine, I was surprised when my grandma died and a hearse shows up. I'm like, they couldn't get us I thought it was like an ambulance, but no. I'm like, why are they shoving her in where they put the building supplies? Yeah, so I both had to mourn my grandma and learn how the world really worked when I was 16. That was a really awkward conversation.
That seems to be one of those things that parents just go, you're like, what is that? They'll go, it's a hearse. And they just shrug. It never occurs to them that you wouldn't know what it is.
I've had so many of those weird little moments. I remember very, very clearly, I was 12 years old when I realized that deer weren't baby horses.
You thought they just all like lost their horns inevitably or something?
I just thought that they got like, you know, they stayed that way, and then like 20 years later they turned into horses. And I was like, you want to know how I found out? I asked, when weren't you allowed to not shoot deer anymore? And they were like, well, you can't shoot does. I'm like, no, but like, is there like a mark? Like, do they lose their horns and then they get big enough and then you just take them to a ranch and they're like, what are you talking about? Then 12-year-old me, on my first hunting trip in Wisconsin, learned that deer and horses were two separate species.
You're like, how do they pick which deer get to go to the Kentucky Derby?
Yeah, I'm like...
I want to see the Kentucky Derby run with deer now.
Oh, yeah, it'd be great, because they'd like...
They would go into the audience immediately, like they would jump off the wall.
The Kentucky Derby.
You met Beardo the Magnificent John recently at my place. Large gentleman did all the grilling, started the fire.
I believe you that I did.
Okay, good. We're on the same page, just different books. Well, this gentleman, we are close friends. So sometimes our families go on vacation together. Now his wife, Diana, is amazing. Just the most innocent, delicate little flower of doom that she is the flower from Undertale that will kill you, but you'll go, aw. She decided you were going to go to a deer sanctuary.
Is she also secretly a kind of sexy goat demon man?
She could be. Also, she would not like you calling her a man, but I know where you were going. We went to a deer sanctuary. And this deer, I've been to sanctuaries before, animal sanctuaries. They're behind fences. And you feed them through the fence and they're just like, swing low. And then they eat the crackers. That's how you go to jail. They're just eating crackers through the fence. No, this place was just like, fences, here's some deer. Here's some crackers. They will fight you for that crap. We're like, cool. So there's Diana, little, tiny, 5'6" Diana, who has purchased 4 bricks of deer feed and put them in her purse. She is surrounded by no less than 50 deer who are trying to distract her because she has decided which deer is the cutest because this deer got up on its hind legs and fell over. And she said, thank you. That is the sound a deer makes when it falls over. Now you learned something today.
More do you know?
Well, she decided that deer obviously needed more food because it's special. The rest of the deer got angry and went after the food bricks in Diana's purse. And none of us intervened until John looked over and saw the deer with his wife's wallet that they'd had taken out of her purse and was just robbing her. And John, now bear in mind, John is a little bit shorter than me. At the time, he was much larger than he is now. He's like, well, I'm not putting up with this, and did this. Apparently, that is signal for the deer to panic. We caused a 75 deer stampede. Now, animals are wonderful. Have you seen a cat jump and land on its feet? How graceful. How beautiful. This was like watching the Indy 500 when a child is on the track. Just bam! None of the deer had any idea where any of the other deer were, and they just three-stooged themselves into each other. They're just colliding and collapsing and falling down hills and totally okay. And the woman in charge just walked, and we're not even talking about, this isn't new. She still had the cigarette in her mouth. Stop it. And that was it. And that's when we realized deer are way bigger badasses than any of us. If I'm in a car accident, hell, if I fall down on the street, I need 5 minutes to collect myself. These deer collided into each other into a 50-deer pile-up, and the second they got their bearings, they went right back to Diana to get more food. That's my deer story. That's your name.
Oh shit, we need to think of deer story. I told my deer story, your deer story, your guys' turn.
I'm imagining one deer, like, crouching down like this, and then another deer pushing a deer over him. When you said they three stooged themselves, I'm like, that's what that means.
They did. They three stooged themselves. Would you guys like to hear a sad story?
Oh.
Okay, I'm going to tell
Do
you.
they have another alcohol?
So,
They said
yes, I have
a few, not a one.
I have 2 bottles for you backstage.
I got Danny.
What? Put it on front of the
I had a
stage.
friend who I met at a convention, a deer. First time I ever met him, this is years ago. And we really hit it off. It was at FCN, the first time we ever met, actually. So we went to FCN, I met this gentleman, he's a deer, we hit it off, we hung out the whole weekend. The day after the convention, we're still talking with each other. 2 days after the convention, he stops talking to me. Week goes by, I send him a message. Month goes by, I send him a message. Nothing. I'm like, it was fun while it lasted. 2 months later, I get a message. Really sorry for the radio silence, I was hit by a truck. The message I sent to him was, ha 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 ha, like over and over, and then he sent me the picture of him nearly dead in the hospital. He has a bunch of metal where his bones used to be now, and to this day, we still think it is the funniest damn thing that he chose deer and was immediately hit by a truck. It was his first interaction with the furry fandom. He's like, I am now a furry, I choose deer, truck. These guys are serious. When you pick a persona, you live that shit.
That's like if a college-age hipster put you on a leash and walked you around a park. Alkali's a ferret. That's why this is a joke.
That was wonderful, thank you.
Have you seen the hipsters with their fudging ferret harness? And the ferret will run, and it seems very uncomfortable, the whole situation, because it's in like...
Stop biting you.
Because he's in like a public park with dogs and things, and it's creepy for, imagine, for a ferret.
You forget, I live right next to a disc golf course. I've seen a ferret play fetch.
So
Do you remember those little novelty discs? Like you get it at McDonald's with your Happy Meal, they're about this big? Yeah, it's a Frisbee this big. And I watched a guy throw it, and I'm like, what is moving? Oh my God, he's playing fetch with his ferret. And like a true ferret, he grabbed the little Frisbee and he's like, well, this is mine now, and just ran into the distance. And the guy's like, well, and just sauntered after his ferret. I didn't know how to feel about that, but I really wanted to play Frisbee. Also, that is not the beer I brought you, so you just stole that from someone.
Look,
Oh, okay.
decisions had to be made. I can't find your Invisibeers anywhere.
There's a huge sign that says for pepper, don't drink, alkali. I mean it.
Oh.
Is this like that note you left me like, don't forget this merchandise in the hotel?
I have all of your merchandise at my house.
We need to come up with Invisibeer now. This needs to be a thing.
Invisibeer?
Invisibeer.
If you drink enough beer, that's how you pee it back out. It is clear. If you drink shitty light beer, I'm so close.
This is gross, but how much alcohol is in your pee if you're very, very drunk? Or is the answer 0?
A lot.
Is there
Dude, I need you to not ask me how I am aware of the answer to this question. I need you to promise me you will not continue down this line of questions.
Is it possible that you could get very, very... Children, please drink responsibly.
I really like
Is it possible that...
Right before this, can we pause for 1 second? I like how the audience, like half the people have realized where this is going and their faces are just like, and the other people are in for a wild ride. Continue.
I keep starting the question over. Like, if you're the world's biggest weirdest, cheapest weirdo. And you were like, let us two get drunk for the price of one. And drank an insane amount of alcohol. And then peed. And then someone else. Could you both get drunk?
Yes. The answer to the question is yes, and this is how we change topics. So, AV just played a sound clip. It was just a woman screaming. Who here has seen? I can't see your hands. Who here has seen The Exorcist? There is a line in The Exorcist where the priest screams out, "Ah, Jesus Christ, kill it." Now you need to think all the way back to the days of, and Pepper, you're old enough for as Napster. You should be. That should be right at the end of your.
I was old enough to have seen it on the news.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I
you've
have a computer in my house.
Yeah.
I remember it now.
So that's how we illegally pirated music when I was in college. And I had the biggest collection of songs on the floor because everyone would give me their stuff because I had the big computer. I had the one with the most memory. So I had 400 plus tracks. And in the middle of them was a sound file that was formatted to no matter what you had your volume set at, if full blast, it would go, "Ah, Jesus Christ, kill it," very loud, and break speakers. And we would always listen to the playlist on shuffle. There is not a single moment in my college career that we wouldn't be playing D&D and this would. Then the orc walks into the room, his sword drawn, blood dripping. "Ah! Jesus Christ, kill it!" Whoa, for the longest time. Whoa. And that is how we played D&D. We actually came up with rules for when Jesus Christ Kill It came on, because it was 1 in 450. So like death would appear for a moment and have a one-liner before vanishing. It was just a thing we did.
I need to go home. I need to go back to my room and vigorously download some stuff because I have a DJ set tomorrow night.
But will you be playing Scary Monsters and Nice Slams? The blend of Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites and, what do you think it is? Space Jam.
Yeah. Okay, so I have my collection. So
Remember that time how at 3 in the morning I called you and said, "Fern, I need all of your mixes that include the song Space Jam." And you're like, "Give me a minute."
Did Boozy ever get back to you?
He has not, and I've messaged him and his wife.
Quick, how old is the oldest kid?
He does not give me the Twitter handles of his children. He's a smart man. His kids started chanting blood ritual during one of my panels. I am not a good godfather.
The youngest kid, the one not even in school yet. That is the word they have chosen to start speaking now that they can talk. Blood ritual.
I really wish it was his first word, but according to Boozy, it was Mommy, Daddy, Food, then Blood Ritual. Which is the correct order of operations in this generation, I think.
You gotta start them young.
With the blood ritual.
With your blood ritual.
Gentlemen, ladies, and other.
we use the term loosely.
Except for other. Hats off to any of you who have the balls to be like, no, I have chosen not to have a gender. And we go, awesome.
The only thing I think English does need to make up a thing for is a gender-neutral term for like when you need to talk to someone who you don't know. Because you need to go like either excuse me, sir, or excuse me, you can't just go excuse me. And one of my friends was like, oh, I just say, your majesty. Excuse me, your majesty. Like it's
I need to know something. Were you at that game of Kings? Oh, you weren't. Good, we'll play that tonight. So who here knows what Kings is? I can't see your hands. Oh, good, I can game, a drinking game that whenever a king comes up, as you choose from every card in the deck, you need to make a rule. And one of the rule was that whenever you have somebody drink, you must refer to them as Your Majesty. So the game started with us not very inebriated as Your Majesty. Well, we played 5 rounds. And the final rule in every single game was rules carry over till next round. Pepper, to close out the show, I would like to refer to each of you as we would have during that game. Guys, I'd like a huge round of applause for our first guest. Let's give it up for Pepper Coyote. You better think. Next, over to my whatever side this is. I've been getting drunk for a little while and I forgot the left, right, up, down, and center. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give it up for Fur! And finally, a very close friend of mine, the second head of the 3-headed monster, guys. If you liked our stand-up, if you want to hear more, at this gentleman's table, they have been kind enough. They have been just unbelievable friends to sell the Dragon Show, which is my podcast, and the 3-headed monster, which is myself, Pandez, and Xander's stand-up. If you would like a copy of our insanity, please head over to their table tomorrow and buy some of their stuff, and they'll throw one of my CDs at you to make you go away. Ladies and gentlemen, the second head of the 3-headed monster, Lord Pandez! And I wish I could do the final one for you. But every once in a while, the universe smiles on you, and I want to leave you all with this story. Because this story has a moral. Remember those morals? We had them before we got onto the stage.
The breakfast cereal?
There's a moral breakfast cereal?
Honey bunches of morality.
Cinnamon toast morals. Sorry, French toast morals.
French toast morals. We had played 5 rounds of King's Cup. Now, I have a rule. We play Kings. There are 2 versions of King's Cup. One with waterfall and one without. The second to last rule in the second to last game was waterfall is active. If you don't know what waterfall is, it's nice and simple. If you draw a card, everybody starts drinking, and you cannot stop drinking until the person to your right stops drinking. It's murder in a bottle.
If you play with our kinds of friends. Yes.
Oh yeah, exactly.
If you play with regular human beings, it'll be like, and it's just over. Your friends will be like, all right, let's go, and like finish a 3-gallon Sunny D jug of rum and Coke.
Hey, Pepper, want to play Kings tonight?
Vikings?
Kings.
Dude, I'm gonna lose, but sure.
You're in? You're in? Yeah, you're in. You're in.
After his show.
You're supplying the booze. Don't fucking point to him. I almost made it through without the F word.
It's PG-13. We get one.
We get one.
I think I took the one earlier.
This is no, you didn't. Shut up. Okay. Hold on.
Okay, well, he's looking at his phone. What time is your show tonight, sir?
Our show is at 10 o'clock. It's in panel room 1.
Yeah.
It'll be around over there.
I'll bring it there.
Yeah, it'll be nice. We go from 10 o'clock till about 11.
Yeah, we're gonna
11:30.
We'll be in here with him, guys. If you've never seen it, Fox and Pepper, an unbelievably amazing
After dark.
It's a show with original music, by the way. That's what the show is. It's not like just
very original
I'll bring
music.
my soda.
It's the AB version, so you need to be 18 to go. But if you're here, you probably can handle it. But we're gonna swear a little bit and drink a little bit, and yeah.
I'll bring the booze. Hey, do me a favor, everyone, if you would, for me. These guys have been around in the fandom for quite some time now. I had the pleasure and the honor of meeting this gentleman on a solo performance at MCFC years ago. Let's fill up this room for them. I guarantee you there will not be a single person in this room who doesn't think it's worth it. They are an amazingly talented band. They have amazing music, and we're going to use that to collect some money for charity. So guys, do a good cause, go to a good panel, get your friends over here and watch Fox and Pepper. Before I tell you the answer, of course, I would like to mention that Fur will be DJing Saturday night at...
midnight.
Saturday night, midnight in this room.
This room here.
Fur will be DJing. myself and Pandez will be around the convention, and the answer to your previous question, very important question for you. Does Pluto get due process? Also, does that make him a human? Also, that Pluto from Disney, not the planet. I mean, not that the planet anymore. I'm so drunk. It's more of a dwarf thing that aliens live on, but you know what I mean. Shut up, Pandez. Boozy's response. Pluto is Goofy's special child. They don't talk about it, but it's true. And I quote from one of the hands-down smartest people I have ever met in my life. He's the Corky of the Disney universe. I love you, Boozy. I absolutely love you. Before I give you this final piece of wisdom to go out on, I will let you know, we usually like to announce at the end of the panel how much you made. Guys, you are just shy of $150 that we have raised for charity. Thank you so much. I will, if you so choose, if you want to talk to anybody or throw more money in the hat, we will put this up here, but I'm going to finish this off with a single, very short story, and that is, did you just steal money? I turned around and you're running away from the hat. I have to assume things. And that is, of course, you were the first one to come up. I'll trade you. Your Majesty, that's for you. Thank you.
Oatmeal.
I've been lighting it.
That is the 5th round of King's Cup during the rule. Because the 4th king came up, and if you play kings the proper way, once the 4th king comes up, the game is over. And we have been screaming, and I mean screaming. No microphone for a second. This is the full volume of how we were doing it on the 13th floor of some random hotel. And that is how we were communicating with each other. And a good friend of mine, thank you, my friend, thank you so much. Hold on, oh, friend! This is mine now. A good friend of mine went for the final, Your Majesty.
A friend of yours is called Jackie.
Good. Thank you. Good is not on it.
I'll go on.
Well, one moment. We finished off the game, the 4th king drawn, and my friend went, Your Majesty! And ended the game. With a torrent of vomit that can only be described as somebody opened the fire hose. He washed the cards off the table, but the cup of booze in the middle was still standing. And yes, almost as if to say, no, I'm okay, he reached to the center of the vomit-covered table, grabbed the cup, and said, Your Majesty. And he was that cocking a gun? Good move. As he was bringing the cup to his lips, my mate, the love of my life, smacked it out of his hand onto the table. And our friend said, You made a mess. And he goes, No, you did. Drink responsibly, have a good time, know your limits, most importantly, enjoy the convention.